everyone. We're going to begin this morning with opening statements. Then, depending on how long those go, we'll probably have a brief break for you to go to the restroom, get a sip of water or something, and then we'll come back and put on witnesses. Depending on how long these go this morning, I have not asked the attorneys yet how long they anticipate it going. I want to just simply caution the jury that opening statements and closing statements are simply bookends to the actual evidence. They are theories of the case that are put forward by the attorneys. Usually the opening statement will tell you what they think they're going to present to you, depending on how the trial moves. And closing is simply a wrap-up of what you saw. They are not to be considered evidence, so nobody get confused. Simply listen to what they have to say, but they are not to be treated as evidence. Okay, when you're ready, Mr. Teeger, or Mr. Graffenreid, I'm not sure who's coming up. Mr. Graffenreid.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. In all criminal cases, we begin with an indictment. An indictment represents a roadmap of exactly what the state of Ohio has to show in their case. The indictment is, I'm going to read the indictment to you now just to give you an idea. I like to do that at the beginning of all my cases, to read the indictment, to give you the basis of what we're going to be looking for throughout this case, and then to give you a little bit of background about what happened on July 19th of 2015. Count 1. The jurors of the County of Hamilton, in the name and the authority of the state of Ohio, upon their oath, do find and present the Raymond M. Tenzing, on or about the 19th of July, 2015, at the County of Hamilton and the state of Ohio, aforesaid, purposely caused the death of Samuel DuBose in violation of section 2903.02a of the Ohio Revised Code, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Ohio. Count 2 of this indictment reads, the grand jurors of the County of Hamilton, in the name and by the authority of the state of Ohio, upon their oaths do find and present that Raymond M. Tenzing, on or about the 19th day of July in the year of 2015, at the County of Hamilton and the state of Ohio, aforesaid, knowingly caused the death of Samuel DuBose while the said defendant was under the influence of a sudden passion or sudden fit of rage, either of which was brought on by serious provocation occasioned by the victim that was reasonably sufficient to incite the defendant into using deadly force. In violation of section 2903.03a of the Ohio Revised Code, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Ohio. This piece of paper brings us here today. This gives us the authority to go forward and for myself and Mr. Teeger to present this case to you, and we believe at the conclusion that you will find Mr. Tenzing, the defendant, guilty. This all started back on July 19th in the year 2015. By all accounts, it was a very warm day that day, just a normal day for everyone. I believe Mr. Tenzing was working that day alone in his patrol car, and he came upon a car that was missing a front license plate. So he ran the plate through his computer, saw that the owner of the car was suspended, and evidence will show that Mr. DuBose was not the owner of the car. His name is not the one that came up on the printout. And in response to that, Mr. Tenzing was in his police car and he followed Mr. DuBose and he pulled him over for a traffic stop. And what happened at that traffic stop is actually what we hear about today. However, we're going to hear a lot of information about a lot of other things that were going on at that time. that time in July of 2015, the University of Cincinnati had entered into an agreement of some sort with the city of Cincinnati. There had been a lot of crime and so forth near the University of Cincinnati, and because of this, they had gone to an agreement where UC police officers were able to patrol off of campus. And in fact, on the date in question, Mr. Tenzing's entire patrol was nowhere, it was not at all on the campus. His entire patrol area was off campus. So he was out patrolling around off campus, and that's when he encountered Mr. DeBose. We'll hear a lot of information about why this was, and that there was possibly a lot of crime, and they had a new chief, and he really wanted to cut down. He didn't want the UC students to be fearful. So he encouraged his officers to get out there, make stops, arrest people, really get out there, make their presence known so we can protect our students. And so the officers were doing that. And we'll hear a lot about that, but that's not really what this case is about. This case is about what happened on July 19th between Mr. Tenzing and Mr. DeBose. It's about when Mr. Tenzing pulled over Mr. DeBose and he forgot, and he didn't use his training, and he didn't do the things that he should have done. And he'll tell us he intentionally shot Mr. DeBose. He'll tell you that in his own statement that he intentionally shot him. So this case is specifically, I want you to focus. You're going to hear a lot of stuff about a lot of things in this case. The state of Ohio is going to give you all, as much information as you can. We're going to play, there were 3 UC officers there. We're going to play their entire body camera videos from beginning to end as much as they recorded that day. We're going to play all of Mr. Tenzing's video. We're going to play all of Officer Livingston's video. We're going to play all of Officer Kidd's video. However, the only part that you really need to focus on, the only part that you'll be deciding on in this case are the seconds, minutes between Mr. Tenzing and Mr. DeBose. You're going to see a lot of extra stuff, but I want you to focus in. And remember the elements in the indictment. I want you to focus in. This is only important. The most important part is those seconds. You're going to hear from an expert for us who's going to go through screen by screen, shot by shot, and walk us through the video. It is a very quick encounter. It is a very quick encounter. However, the expert will be able to have us walk through it. You'll be able to use your common sense, listen to him. You'll be able to make your own decisions, and you'll be able to reach a decision in this matter. On that day, Mr. Tenzing acted in contrary to his training. Mr. Tenzing was told not to reach into an automobile, and you'll see it, and he'll even tell you that he was trying to reach into the car to get the keys out to stop anything else that was going to happen. He'll tell you that that's what he did. But after that point, after he reaches in the car, he'll tell you in his statement that he was hung, he was trapped, that he couldn't get unhooked. But once you get to see the video, you get to slow it down piece by piece, you'll be able to see that Mr. Tenzing was not trapped. He was not hung. At first he says his hand was hung behind the steering wheel. When you get to see the video, his hand was not hung behind the steering wheel. Then he says he doesn't know what he was trapped on. You'll be able to see actually he himself was grabbing onto the seatbelt of Mr. DeBose as he was trying to, I guess, with his hands, stop him from any motion. As he's reaching across, he can't quite get to the keys, and then from the keys he goes to grabbing onto his seatbelt. You'll get to see all this in the video. And you'll get to see how Mr. DeBose reacts. It's a very quick reaction, but you can almost see him flinch right before the shot's fired. You'll get to all see that frame by frame, step by step, as you work together to decide this case. I read the indictment to you earlier. The state of Ohio, this is clearly the evidence will show, this is a purposeful killing by Mr. Tenzing. Count 2 is a little more complicated, has a lot more words in it, and I just want you to work through. The judge at the end of the case will go through each of the elements of that case, but we just want you to have an idea in your head of what exactly you'll be looking for. Was there provocation by Mr. DeBose? Was Officer Tenzing, at the time, was he provoked to the point where he had to pull the gun and shoot him? The state will submit that in this case, the evidence will show that this is clearly a murder. That Mr. Tenzing, the defendant in this matter, pulled out his gun and he shot Mr. DeVos. And at the conclusion of all the evidence, we ask that you find him guilty of all charges. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Matthews, when you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court, Mr. Bradbury, Mr. Peter, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. As Judge Giaz has indicated, opening statements are not evidence. They're simply an outline of what we expect for the state of Ohio and the defense for what we expect the evidence will show as you sit here for the next week or so listening to witnesses testify and see exhibits that are admitted in the trial in this case. All we are doing right now is outlining what we think the evidence will show on behalf of each side here. I just heard Mr. Bradbury's opening statement, and while I can agree with some of what she said, there's a lot of it that I don't agree with. As I look at each of you, I think I'm probably quite a bit older than most of you, but when I was growing up, my mother used to listen to a guy on the radio that some of you may have heard of by the name of Paul Harvey. Paul Harvey used to have a little radio show where he'd start out and tell a story and get you all curious about what the conclusion of it was. And then there would be a commercial break, and he would come back and tell the end of the story, and everybody would just be kind of surprised or say, well, I didn't know that. The point of what I'm telling you is that Paul Harvey had a tagline called, "And now you know the rest of the story." And that's what I'm going to do up here today. I'm going to tell you the rest of the story. Ladies and gentlemen, the evidence in this case on behalf of the defendant, Ray Tenzing, has showed that on July 19, 2015, when this case occurred, this incident occurred, Ray was 25 years old. He was a graduate of Coleraine High School. When he went to Coleraine High School, he participated in the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office Explorers Post. That's a group of, which is just beyond the age of Boy Scouts, where the individuals that participate in that have a great desire to learn about a career in law enforcement, and many of them do go on to become law enforcement officers, which is what Ray did. But Ray had a desire since he was a little kid. His dad was a firefighter. Ray would tell you that since that I was a little kid, I wanted to be a policeman. So he was in high school, he was in the Explorer Post. From there, he went to the University of Cincinnati, where he earned a Bachelor of Science degree in criminal justice. And as a part of that, he was able to attend the police academy that the University of Cincinnati has, which at the end of which, if you pass all the tests and you take all the courses and do well, you become what's called OPATA certified. That's a certification that every police officer in the state of Ohio must obtain from the state of Ohio in order to become a police officer. Ray took that course and passed it, became OPATA certified. He started out his career as a police officer with the village of Green Hills, and then eventually was hired on at the University of Cincinnati. The reason that he went to university, the reason he was able to get a job at the University of Cincinnati was that crime in the area of UC, both on the campus and around the campus, has been a major issue for years. The powers that be at UC have become overwhelmed and tired of the victimization of UC students in particular, who are, I like to say, young and dumb. They're probably more young and naive than young and dumb. But they're not aware of their surroundings. They're easily victimized in every neighborhood around that campus. The Cincinnati Police Department is a great police department, but they don't have enough officers to saturate the area around the UC campus to protect the students. So the powers that be at UC determined that we're going to increase the size of the police department as one of the manners in which we're going to try to get this criminal element under control around the campus and help our students. They hired a bunch of police officers, and you'll hear probably testimony that among other things, they put up cameras, they put up more street lighting. But the big thing was they hired a bunch of police officers, young police officers. At the same time, they brought in a new police chief by the name of Jason Goodrich, who is no longer the police chief at DC. Chief Goodrich instituted a policy with his officers, and then before I get to that, the city of Cincinnati and the University of Cincinnati had entered into what's called a memorandum of understanding. And in that memorandum of understanding, the city of Cincinnati granted University of Cincinnati police officers the ability to patrol citywide. They didn't have to stay on campus, they could patrol the entire city of Cincinnati. As a practical matter, what they did was the University of Cincinnati officers stayed around the campus. They didn't go all over the city. They just stayed in the neighborhoods around campus. And under Chief Goodrich's administration, a series of beats was set up. Beats are the area around campus is broken down to a particular area, and officers said that was assigned to that beat for that day. You go patrol that area and make sure that everything remains under control. The evidence will show that the officers, one of Chief Goodrich's policies when he came in was, in order to try to get this crime situation under control, I want the officers to be extremely proactive. That means go out and arrest and cite people who are committing violations of the law and get the word out that, if you're coming around to commit crimes or victimize our students, we're out here and we're going to get you. Go somewhere else. I think the evidence will show that Chief Goodrich's policy was working. He was telling his supervisors to tell you guys to get out there and write tickets and stop people and let them know that they're not welcome here. And I'll add that the policy wasn't go out and stop somebody because they're black, or go out and stop somebody because they're white, or go out and stop somebody because they're green or purple. The policy was if you have a legitimate reason, if they're committing some kind of offense, you make that stop. In the UC policy, their procedure manual says if you see a violation of law, you shall investigate it and make a stop or make an arrest. It doesn't say you can if you feel like it, or maybe it'd be all right to do that. It says you shall do it. And the officers that were assigned that were working under Chief Goodrich took that to heart, and they went out and saturated the area around that campus. And I think you'll find through the testimony that the policy was working. Some people think it was extremely harsh, but the policy was working. The crime around UC was dropping dramatically, and the trustees and people around UC were happy with the results. One of those officers, again, was Ray Tenzing. You'll find that Ray Tenzing was active. If he saw a violation, he would make a stop. And before I go any further, I don't know, everybody here, I think, has indicated they've read or heard or watched the first trial. And it keeps coming back to the fact that Ray Tenzing stopped Sam DeBose because he didn't have a front license plate. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's balderdash. Ray Tenzing stopped Sam DeBose after he saw that Sam DeBose did not have a front license plate on that car. But what he saw was no front license plate, and as you were out on the jury scene yesterday, I think the bus may have stopped. When you came down East Hollister and stopped where that intersects with Vine Street, there's a little island there, and Ray was parked next to that island on his way back to his beat after he'd done something else in another location. He was stopped at that island waiting to cross Vine to go up West Hollister back to his particular beat. By the way, just because an officer was assigned to a beat didn't mean he wasn't allowed to leave that beat. In any event, Ray was sitting there at East Hollister and Vine when he looked up toward the UC campus where you all drove down from in the bus yesterday, and he noticed Sam DeBose driving down the street. He didn't know it was Sam DeBose. He didn't know whether it was a man or a woman driving. He'll tell you all I could tell was I saw a red hat and red clothing. I didn't know if it was a man or woman driving, but I noticed that there was not a front license plate on the car. He then, as the car went by him, plugged that license plate into the computer. Every UC police car is equipped with. They've got a computer right there that the officer can reach right over and punch a license plate in. Instantly, they're told who owns the vehicle, whether the person that the vehicle is registered to has any kind of criminal record, whether their license is under suspension, whether they've been known to be armed and dangerous in the past, and he can even bring up a picture of the registered owner of the car. Ray punched in that license plate that was on the rear of the car that the conduct board had seen DeBose was driving. It instantly came up, and you will see from Ray's body camera video, it instantly came up and told Ray that the registered owner of the vehicle was under suspension. Driving under suspension in the state of Ohio is what's known as a first-degree misdemeanor. It's the most serious degree of misdemeanor there is. No front license plate is a minor violation, a simple payout ticket. Driving under suspension is a serious offense, and it's one that I believe any police officer anywhere would make a stop for if they knew that the driver was under suspension. Ray's curiosity was aroused. He sees that the registered owner of the vehicle is under suspension, and he decided he would make a traffic stop. So rather than going across Vine Street up West Hollister and back to to his beat, Ray turned left onto Vine Street and followed Sam DeBose. As they got down to Phil Street, and that's the street that the bus turned off of and ended up there by Ray Street. But Sam DeBose turned on to Phil Street, put a signal on, indicated he was turning on to Phil Street, as Ray Tenzin lit up his cruiser lights, indicating he wanted Sam DeBose to pull over. Sam did not immediately pull over, and that started to cause some concern with Ray Tenzin, but not a lot, because he figured, he's turning on to Phil Street, that'll get us out of traffic on Vine Street, and we'll be in a more safe area. Sam did not pull over immediately on Phil Street. He continued on up the street, and you'll hear on the body camera video that Ray was wearing and it was activated. You'll hear him hit the yelper on the siren a couple of times. Sam still did not pull over. He proceeded on up to the end of Phil Street, where it dead ends into Ray Street, and turned on to Race, at which time he pulled over. Ray got out of his car. Ray called out on his radio that he was making a traffic stop, as he's supposed to do. He notified the dispatcher, or he said in his notification to the dispatcher, that the car that he was stopping was slow to stop. Slow to stop is a term used by police officers that has meaning to police officers when they hear it. I'll tell you, slow to stop means generally the guy's not pulling over right away like most people do when they're signaling to stop, signal to pull over. He's not pulling over, he's being slow to do that. And to officers, that indicates one of a multitude of things that could be happening. The individual could be hiding something in the car. No matter what, he's picking the place. Officers, but it also means he could be hiding something in the car, he could be tossing contraband out of the car, or he could be picking a spot to get out and run. So Ray called out slow to stop. Officers David Lindenschmidt and Philip Kidd and Joel Lindenschmidt were also working. They were a two-man cruiser. Officer Kidd was his training officer. They were working another beat off of the UC campus. They heard Ray say, "I'm pulling over a car that's slow to stop," and they'll tell you they decided to head down to Phil Street because Ray had called out the location, and they knew that Phil Street was not the best area of town, that's the best part of town. They decided they would go down and back Ray up. You will hear that as Ray got out of his car, he approached Sam DeBose's car on the driver's side. And you'll hear on his body camera video, he asked Sam DeBose multiple times for a driver's license. He realized at this point that the car was registered to a female whose license was suspended. He obviously saw Sam DeBose and knew that he was not a female. So he figured he's not the registered owner of the car, but he wanted to see if Sam had a driver's license. Sam never responded directly. He said, I have one. You'll hear it on the tape, so I'm not going to tell you exactly what the wording is because I don't remember, because he had so many excuses and dodges and so on. He never did answer the question about whether he had a driver's license, which in and of itself made Ray Tenzing, an experienced police officer at that point, question whether Sam did have a valid driver's license, and it turns out he did not. He was under suspension. But, ladies and gentlemen, during the course of Ray asking Sam 7 or 8 times, do you have a license? And the first thing he wanted to do was determine who Sam was. Ray noticed a bottle on the floorboard between Sam's legs. It said gin on it. It was full. As an experienced police officer, Ray immediately thinks, well, perhaps I'm dealing with somebody who's impaired, under the influence. He asked Sam, what's that? Sam handed Ray the bottle, it's marked gin, and Ray put that bottle up on the roof of the car. What's significant about that was that when Ray put that up on the roof of the car, I think you'll find that Ray wasn't done with inquiring about the gin bottle. He was going to get back to that after he determined who Sam was. And the reason I think you can make that inference is that when Ray first approached Sam, Sam asked him, why did you stop him? He said, he didn't have a front license plate. He said, oh, I've got that. He took the keys out of the ignition and reached over into the glove box and started to pull the front license plate out, and there was a front license plate in the glove box. Ray told Sam, he said, don't worry about that. He said, that belongs on the front of the car. I'm not concerned with that. So Ray kind of blew off Sam's attempt to show him he had a front license plate. Ray wasn't concerned about that. On the other hand, the gin bottle was something that concerned Ray. He wanted to get back to it. But before any of that could happen, Ray continues to ask Sam, who are you? Do you have a license? And Sam won't give him a straight answer. At this point, Kid and Lyndon Schmidt are pulling in. Ray says to Sam, you'll again see this on the body camera video, Ray says to Sam, until I can figure out who you are, go ahead and step out of the car. At that point, Ray started to open the car door. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, one of the other pieces of evidence that we will be showing to you is on that July 19th day, Ray Tenzing activated his body-worn camera 3 times prior to his encounter with Sam DeBose. I'm going to show those to you. One of those encounters, he was backing up another UC police officer on a traffic stop. The other one, which is of significance, but I'm going to tell you right now, it takes about 35 minutes to play. For the most part, it's extremely boring. But in that video, you will see Ray have the driver remain in the car while he handcuffs him in the car, and then he gets him out. And that was his purpose in opening Sam's car door. You can't get handcuffing in the car if the door is closed. So he was going to open the door, have Sam take his seatbelt off, handcuff him, and detain him until he could determine who he was. Sam didn't like that fact. And at the point that Ray is opening the car door, with his left hand, Sam grabs the door and pulls it shut and places his left arm over Ray's left arm. Well, let me back up. Sam pulls the door shut. That's a first act of active resistance to what's going on. Sam pulled the door shut. At the same time, somehow Sam, at some point, I don't think this is in the video, I don't think you can see it in the video, but at some point Sam, who had removed the keys from the ignition to open the glove box, had put the keys back into the ignition. And as he is reaching with his left hand, Sam is to close the car door. With his right hand, he is starting the Honda, starting the ignition. And as soon as he does that, he drops his hand to the gear shift, which is in the center console, puts it into drive. And in order to put the car into drive, to move off, you have to have your foot on the brake. Sam puts the car into drive, mashes the accelerator, and takes off. Starts to take off. Ray, feeling like, and he'll tell you, he made a mistake, but he felt like he was so close that he could reach into that car and somehow get those keys out of the ignition and stop Sam from taking off. He was unsuccessful. He reached into the car. As he reached into the car with his left hand, Sam DeBose put his left arm over the top of Ray's left arm and pinned his hand against the steering wheel. You'll see that on the body-worn camera. And Ray told investigators in his statement His intention was to reach through the steering wheel. He thought his arm was through the steering wheel and caught in the steering wheel. I think the evidence will show that rather than that, his arm was pinned to both to the windowsill, and his hand was pinned to the steering wheel as Sam DeBose mashed that accelerator and took off. And what happened when that occurred was that Ray Tenzing's body was spun to his left. He started to fall. His arm was trapped in there. Sam DeBose is driving off, and Ray thought he was going to get sucked under the rear wheels and run over and drag to his death. Seriously hurt. As all that's happening, Ray pulled out his service revolver with his service weapon with his right hand and fired one shot at whatever he could fire at to stop the threat to his, what he thought was a threat to his life. And that shot entered the head of Sam DeBose and resulted in his death. Ray Tenzing's purpose at that point was not to cause the death of Sam DeBose. It was not to hurt Sam DeBose. It was to stop the threat that Sam DeBose, that Ray Tenzing felt that Sam DeBose posed with his life. I apologize for going on. Normally I don't talk a whole lot. I believe in keeping things short. But this case, it's so important that you understand what the facts are, because I've been up here for I don't know how many minutes at this point, but this whole incident that I'm talking about, from the starting to open the car door to Sam DeBose taking off and being shot, lasted less than 3 seconds. And you'll see a video clip of this. And it's just phenomenal how much can happen in that short period. As Mr. Graffenreid indicated, there will be video analysts who will come in here who have watched this thing 100 or 1,000 times, and they're going to tell you what they think was shown. But at the end of the day, as we talk about Gordon Iyer, it's your call to figure out what it showed. And this, ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you, 10 cameras, and you get to look at all kinds of different views of what occurred. This happened in 2.853 seconds, I think. You've got one camera, it's blurry. Parts of it are very blurry. It's difficult to see some things, but I think that at the end of the day, you will find that Ray Tenzing had a legitimate fear that he was about to be dragged by that car, that in fact was dragged. A lot has been made about the issue of the term, the meaning of the term drag. The evidence will show, we saw the manhole cover. Let me back up here. When Ray Tenzing pulled over Sam DeBose, there was a silver car occupied by a girl by the name of Alicia Napier, and she'll testify at some point in this trial. She was in the car with her 2 kids. If you remember the house at the corner of Race and Phil, her mother-in-law and boyfriend, her mother-in-law lived there at that house. And she was there with her kids and getting ready to leave, so she had them in the car and was attempting to get them in the child seat and the seatbelt when all this happened. She'll tell you that her car was parked some feet in front of where Sam DeBose pulled over. As Sam DeBose took off, he had to turn his car to the left to get around and avoid getting hurt. So he actively turned his car into the left with Ray Tenzing standing right next to him. And that's where Ray Tenzing started to go down, and that's where Ray Tenzing said he was dragged. The evidence will show that he ended up falling toward the left-hand side of the street, which is some distance, not a great distance, perhaps 15 or 20 feet up the street from where he had started out next to Sam DeBose's car. Ray used the states that all he was. Well, being dragged has to start somewhere, ladies and gentlemen, and I submit that maybe Ray's choice of the word drag was not correct, but when Sam DeBose mashed that accelerator and turned left to take off out of that, or started a left-hand turn to take off from that traffic stop, and turned right into Ray Tenzing and threw him off balance, which caused him to start to fall. And you will see on the body-worn camera how Ray ended up and how that car narrowly missed him as Sam DeBose took off. Ladies and gentlemen, the testimony in this case, I think, will eventually come down to a decision that you make. The experts will be here to assist what you hear, but you ultimately have to make a decision. And I told you there will be 3 other videos that will show what Ray Tenzing was about that day. And I told you, I started to tell you about the one that's about 35 minutes long. Among other things, that video shows Ray Tenzing stopping a vehicle on McMillan, which was operated by a male African-American. His wife was in the car. They had 4 kids in the back seat. The kids didn't have child seats or seat belts. The car did not have a front license plate. The car, I believe, the registered owner was under suspension. Ray made a traffic stop. It turned out that, and he handcuffed the driver. As he sat in the car, Ray handcuffed the driver. His purpose was to detain him to figure out what was going on. You'll find in that traffic stop, a lot of people will be critical, why did you have to handcuff him in front of your kids? Well, you'll find, ladies and gentlemen, that Ray was polite to everybody involved in that. When he got the driver out, first he handcuffed him in the car, he got the driver out of the car. The driver said these handcuffs are too tight or they're uncomfortable. The first thing Ray did when he got him out of the car was adjust the handcuffs to make him more comfortable. He took Ray back to his cruiser. This was July 19, 2015. It was an extremely hot day. Ray put the driver in the back seat of his cruiser. He told the driver, I'll put the air conditioning on for you, which he did. He then got out of his cruiser. He went back to the driver's car. His wife and kids were in the car. He determined that he gave the wife the keys and said, here, turn the air conditioning on so you can keep the kids cool. I mean, this is not a guy, they want to portray him as a racist. He wasn't a racist. He wasn't a hard-head, no-nonsense cop. He was an extremely human kind of a guy who was polite and respectful to me. The kids, but it turned out in that traffic stop that the driver was not only under suspension, he had 5 open warrants on him, meaning he had 5 times he had been cited for other things and hadn't shown up to court. His wife was under suspension, so there wasn't a valid driver of the car. Ray Tenzing could have arrested that man, taken him to the Justice Center, and had the car towed. But what did Ray do? And that's why it lasts 35 minutes, because he gave him a ticket for the driving under suspension, and I think no child restraint, or no child seat in the car, whatever it is. He also had to write a ticket because he recited, rather than haul the man to jail, which he could have very easily done, he recited him for the 5 times he hadn't shown up previously and said, here, show up this time. His wife, who was not valid, they didn't have a valid driver, he could have towed the car and left the family standing on the side of the road. Ray didn't do that. He asked the wife, he said, can you call somebody that's got a valid license and have them come pick up the car, which is exactly what they did. But everybody drove away from him. Big stop you're going to see of the 3 that I showed you occurred at about 6 o'clock on July 31st. And this incident with Sam DeBose occurred at 6:31 p.m. At 5:58, Ray stopped another car occupied by a female which is across Vine Street from where we were yesterday. Yesterday we were by Inwood Park, which, by the way, someone was shot there yesterday morning, apparently, right before we were up there. But that's Inwood Park. Ray stopped this other car in Bellevue Park, and that car also did not have a front license plate, and it also came back registered to a female who was under suspension. When Ray approached that stopped vehicle, he asked the female driver, whose car is this? She said, it's my friend's. He said, do you have a license? She produced a valid Ohio driver's license. The male who was with her produced a valid Ohio driver's license. Ray took those licenses, went back to his cruiser, ran the people through his in-car computer. Turned out neither one of them had any warrants. Everything was good. They had valid licenses. He returned to the car, gave them the licenses back. He said, "Have a nice day," and the lady said, "You too, officer." And that was the end of it. 4 or 5 minutes, and everything was fine. The point of that, ladies and gentlemen, is again, Ray Tenzing was professional, he was courteous, he was polite, and had Sam DeBose cooperated with him, his stop, but wouldn't have ended the same way because of the things that Sam DeBose was up to. But Sam DeBose wouldn't have ended up shot. Sam had simply complied with Ray Tenzing. He would have gone to jail because you'll hear evidence that in the car with Sam DeBose, or on Sam DeBose's person, was $2,600 in cash and some marijuana, and found in various places in the car was another quantity of marijuana that was enough to add up to a felony charge. And with a felony charge, Sam DeBose would have gone to the Justice Center for that traffic stop. Had Ray Tenzing had an opportunity to discover it. Ladies and gentlemen, I think at the end of this case, you will find that it's a terrible tragedy. What happened to Sam DeBose is terrible. But Sam DeBose, all he had to do was cooperate with the officer. He would have gone to the Justice Center, and from there, who knows what would have happened, but he wouldn't have been shot. But Ray Tenzing, as he made that traffic stop, he didn't anticipate that Sam DeBose was going to drive off with Ray's arm caught in that car. And I think you'll find that this all happened so quick that instinctively Ray Tenzing did the only thing that he could do to save his own life or to save himself from being seriously injured. And as for the voluntary manslaughter, which Mr. Graff and we read to you about being a sudden fit of passion or a sudden fit of rage, you're not going to find any evidence that supports that. Ladies and gentlemen, I submit at the end of this case, you will find that Ray Tenzing was justified in what he did, and I think you'll find that without having heard the law that Judge Giz is going to explain to you. When you hear that law, I think you'll have absolutely no doubt that he was justified in what he did, and that he's not guilty of either the offenses of murder or voluntary manslaughter. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Matthews. Mr. Teeger, Mr. Graffin, would you like to?
Yes. Call Lieutenant Barge, Your Honor.
Pardon me?
Lieutenant Barge.
Okay. Thank you.
You do solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give before this court and jury to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so be it.
I do.
So right there, so make sure you talk correctly in the microphone. Also.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
All right, how are you?
Could you please state your first and last name for the record, spelling your last name?
It's Tim Barge, B-A-R-G-E.
And Lieutenant Barge, how are you employed?
I'm a second shift lieutenant for the University of Cincinnati Police Department.
Okay, and how long have you been with the University of Cincinnati Police Department?
Going on 14 years.
Okay. And as the second shift lieutenant, what are your responsibilities?
Supervising second shift patrol.
Okay, what does that mean?
Managing the shift.
Okay. And how long have you been in that position?
I'll be a lieutenant on second shift 2 years in October.
2 years in October, okay. And prior to that, what position did you hold?
Sergeant,
Okay, and where were you at that time?
third shift.
Third shift, and what did you do as a sergeant?
Basically the same thing, supervise third shift patrol.
Okay. And have you worked with any other police agencies besides the University of Cincinnati?
I was a special deputy for Hamilton County Sheriff's Department for 2 years prior to UC.
And I'm going to direct your attention back to July 19th, 2015. At that time, what was your rank?
Sergeant,
Okay. And were you supervising the third shift at that time?
that's correct.
Okay. And on July 19th, would you wear a uniform to work, or what were you?
Uniform.
Uniform, okay. Were you working around 6:30 on that day?
I was not. I was called into work.
Okay. And at some point, you were called in due to a police-involved shooting, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, tell us what did you do, and why did they bring you in?
Well, I run the camera program, the body camera program. So I'm the administrator where we store the evidence.
Okay, well, can you tell us what did you do to run the body camera program?
Can you repeat that again?
What did you do? You said you ran the body camera program. What does that mean? What did you do?
I manage the camera program.
Okay.
When we first initiated wearing body cameras, I was in charge of that, issuing the body cameras, managing the videos.
Okay, and you can scoot that towards you too, because thank you. So when did you guys get body cameras?
We got them on the end of 2013. We ended up buying them in 2014.
2014, okay. And in 2014, everybody got them at that point, or how did it
Every
work?
officer was issued a body camera.
Okay. So in 2013, when it first started, did you guys have some testing, or what did you do?
That's correct. That's what we did.
Okay, and you were in charge of that?
I was.
Okay. And after the shooting, then since you were in charge of the program, you came in and tell us what you did.
I was responsible for downloading the video or uploading the video to evidence.com, which is our storage software. I received the body camera from Sergeant Winslow from CPD.
All right, I'm going to hand you what's been marked State's Exhibit number 10. Can you look in there and tell me if you recognize what that is?
It's a body camera video, or camera.
The body camera. Okay, you hold it up and let the jury see it. Now, is that the whole camera? Is that what each officer is assigned, that piece, or is there more to it?
There's more to it. There's actually a bracket. I actually brought one in. Do you want to see it?
Yes, please.
This is the mounting bracket that the camera goes into.
Okay, can you tell us how it works, just so we all understand?
At the beginning of each shift, these cameras are stored into a dock station that actually uploads any videos that are on the camera. They erase the camera and they charge the camera. So when an officer gets ready for shift, they're going to come out, they're going to grab their camera that's assigned to them. They're going to take their mounting bracket, slide it in, and then they're going to mount it on their breast pocket.
Okay, and how do they mount them on their breast pocket?
There's a pen holder in our shirts that are issued, and that's what we use to mount.
Okay, are they hooked like from the back?
There's a metal clip that actually slides into the breast pocket.
Okay, so it slides in perfectly, so it's secured there on the shirt. Okay, and where does the body camera go on the officer?
Chest level, usually are on the left or right side, depending on where your pen holders are in your shirt.
Okay, and so it's a hole that's in the shirt. Is there two or just one? So you can choose size or
There's
choose
only one.
location? All right, and that Exhibit 10, that is the body camera video that you were given on that day. And previously you were able to look at serial numbers and make sure that that was a body camera that was worn by Rick Tenzing.
It is.
Now, you're in charge of the program. I assume that University of Cincinnati has some policy and procedure manual regarding the body cameras?
We do.
Okay, and what is the procedure pertaining to, when you activate your body camera, when you don't activate it?
Well, depending on the situation, but if you're initiating a run like a traffic stop, as soon as you put out the call, you're supposed to activate your camera.
Okay. Let me back up a little bit just to make sure that ladies and gentlemen of the jury understand. So, you said you first come on your shift, you put your body camera on. What do you have to do? What happens at that point?
The officers have to actually power the camera on. This is your activation button. This will actually put it in a standby mode. So it's actually recording 30-second loops, but it's powered on.
Okay. And when you say 30-second loops, what do you mean? Just so we make sure that we all know what you mean.
Basically, when an officer makes a stop or interaction with the public, they want to activate their camera, they're going to double tap it. It'll go back 30 seconds and record video, not audio. So if you're running traffic, you might catch the traffic infraction before you activate the camera.
Okay. So, so sometimes in the video, you can even see their hand where they push it. There'll be no sign, but closer when they push it, then you'll start hearing something.
When you activate your camera, when you double tap the activation button and you start recording, it's going to start recording audio and video at that time. It's going to go back 30 seconds and show you the video 30 seconds prior to activating the camera.
Okay, so like you said, you could maybe catch a traffic infraction or something like that.
Correct.
Okay. And at that point, after you double tap it and turn it on, how is it turned off?
How to deactivate the camera?
Yes.
Or the recording? To activate it, you got to double tap it. To deactivate it, to stop recording, you have to hold the same button that you used to activate the camera in for 3 to 5 seconds.
Okay. And does the camera let you know that it's been deactivated somehow?
It'll beep.
A beep? Okay. All right, Your Honor. I'd like to enter Exhibit 10 into evidence at this time.
No objection.
Thank you, Mr. Matthews. It'll be admitted.
All right, you said that you came in and you got that, you docked it onto the docking station.
That's correct.
Can you tell, is that just the system that goes out on the internet, you said, on something?
It's cloud-based storage.
Okay. Go ahead and just walk us through that.
Well, no. When we receive the camera, the officers bring the cameras in at the end of their shift. If they've had any videos that need to be uploaded, the camera gets mounted. All they have to do is take it up to the dock, plug it in, and walk away.
Okay. And so it's uploaded, once it's uploaded to this location, what do you have to do to get that video back? Or make a copy of it?
To make a copy of it, there's only certain people that have permission to actually make copies of the video. You have to be an administrator or command staff and above.
And in this case, there was a copy made of the stop in question from this case. I'm going to hand you what's been marked State's Exhibit number 12. It's just a CD. I think you may have seen it previously. And you can download what was on the body camera onto a CD so that you can give it to someone.
If you're an administrator, that's correct.
All right. All right, I'd like to enter State's Exhibit number 12 into evidence and publish it to the jury.
I assume that's the body worn camera from the center?
Yes.
Any-
No objection.
Thank you. Okay, so admitted.
While we're loading that up, sir, do you see Mr. Tenzing in the front?
I do.
Can you point to and describe what he's wearing?
It's a gray suit with a blue tie.
Judge, I'll stipulate the identification.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And this body camera that we're getting ready to view from July 19th of 2015, that's the body camera of Mr. Tenzing, is that correct?
Well, I have to see it first, yes.
.2233 traffic stop. I'll be on Still Street, just off of Vine.
And can you pause it? Thank you. Now, at the beginning of the video, we can see some type of computer or something. Can you tell us what is that?
MDT or MDC?
MDC?
MDT or MDC.
Okay. And what does that stand for and what is that?
It's a mobile data terminal.
And what do police officers do with those?
They can run plates, sock numbers. It's basically get information of the person they're looking at.
All right, before we West me, I'm gonna hand you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 15. Can you look at that and tell me if you recognize what that represents?
This is a picture of an NDC.
Of NBC, okay, so that would be the printout of like this, what's in this area here.
That's correct.
And that would be a representation of what would come up on the computer at the time if someone typed in, what are the different things you could type in?
License plates, social security numbers.
And that time, when you run that through, then you would get information about whatever car or person you were looking into at that time?
That's correct.
All right, can you keep going?
25 Mill Street.
Hey, firm, so just off the phone.
No plate.
Okay, we're slow to stop. We're on Wright Street, just off the Sill, Ohio, George Lincoln North, 6917. Occupied by one. Hey, how's it going, man? Good. Officer Sims, UC Police. Do you have a license on you?
Yeah, what is it?
Okay. Is this your car?
Yeah.
Let's come back to the female, actually.
My wife, and then it's signed the lead.
Okay. We don't have a front license plate on the car.
Oh, I just come out here about it. I have it.
What's that?
It's right here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's got to go where the front plate's supposed to go. You don't have to reach for it. It's okay. You have a license on you?
Yeah.
What's that bottle on the floor there? Bottle what? Okay. Do you have a license on you? Okay. Do you know where that license at? Is that or what? Okay. I'm gonna ask you again. Do you have your license
I
on you?
have license. You can take my name.
So do you not have your license on you? I'm asking you a direct question. Do you have your license on you?
I thought I did. I ain't seen it. Why did you put me on the front?
Again, the front tag.
But it's not illegal to have the front page. It's just
Okay. Actually, it is. I'm going to ask you again. You have a license on
I
you?
have a license. You can run my name.
Okay. Is that not on you then?
I don't think I have a name.
Be straight up with me. Are you suspended?
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
Why don't you have your license on you?
I don't know. I'm sorry, bro. I'm gonna go in the house.
Okay. Where do you stay at? Down
Right
here?
around the corner.
Okay. Well, until I can figure out if you have a license or not, go ahead and take your seatbelt off for
I
me.
ain't even doing that, man.
Go ahead and take your seatbelt off. Stop! Right through the back side, right to right. One shot forward. Get comfortable and lift up the car. Go. You good? I thought he was going to run me over.
You okay?
I'm good. 33, started medics this way. We got gunshot wound to the head.
Rice and Valencia.
73, I'm not injured. I almost got ran over by the car. He took off on me. I discharged 1 round. Struck the nail in the head. Oh, I thought I was going to get run over. He didn't reach for anything. Stand back! Stand back! I just got tangled in the car. I thought I was going to run over. Stay back! He just took off on me, man. I thought he was going to run me over. Is somebody by 5 or 4?
You want to block off that way? Do we have anyone down there? I'll donate that.
I think I'm okay. He was just dragging me.
Yeah,
I thought I was going to get run over. I was trying to stop him.
Tell him to get over here.
35, I'm going to get gas.
Huh? You're not going to be able to go down the car, but go. Watch the houses.
Did somebody push the 4 by him?
No.
We're in 4 right now.
It's 4?
We're in 4. We're east of Vine Street, yeah. Oh, I thought he was going to run me over. He was dragging me. Yeah, he took off on me. My hand was caught inside. Yeah, I fired 1 round. I'm fine. I got caught in the steering wheel or something. Stay back! Stay back! You're good! You're good! Stay back!
Go ahead.
Go back inside, Seth. Go back inside. God, he's dragging me, man.
Good?
I'm good. I just got my hand and my arm caught inside.
I saw that.
Damn. Ah. I think I'm okay.
What was he reaching for?
He kept reaching around. I told him to step out of the car. He's going to produce a license. So that's when I put it in drive, started taking off. I reached in and I shot 1 round at him. He took off on me. I got my hand caught in the car. I almost got ran over by him. I'm good. Got dragged by him. Got caught inside the car. I think I'm okay.
You all right?
Yeah, he drugged me in his car.
Okay.
Yeah.
And still and right. 40 to the right, take right
You need medical.
I think I'm okay. I just said, I barely got tired. I think I'm okay.
Sure. You don't need medical.
I'll get checked out anyways. Wouldn't hurt. I mean, my left arm hurts a little bit on the other side. I'm just getting caught in there, so.
We're going to have a lot of officers here. Do you want me to take them?
Go ahead.
Give me the reading budget. As far as initially, it's all sent from the truck stuff, right?
Yes, sir. Here's coming south from Vine.
That's your weapon?
Yes. And south from Vine from McMillan. He had no front license plate on the car. I pulled out behind him. I let him up down here behind his Phil. He drove down Phil and didn't stop. Didn't take off, but just was slow to stop. Turned up here and stopped right where Lennon Schmidt is. I left arm hurts a little bit. I got dragged by the car. He took off. I got my hand stuck inside the car. And my car's down there. No.
Are you hurt? You need fire?
My left arm hurts a little bit. I want her to get checked out. But
I'll get a 42, 25. I'm going to have fire on this location. You got one of the boxes.
my sergeant's right there.
Okay. Have we got an ad?
You want me to give you the rundown?
He stays with you. Well, I'm on the seat. The other. Yeah. Oh, I'm not worried about that. Actually, John?
I think I'm good, yeah. I missed the tires luckily, but I'm just getting dragged by them.
Did you tell them what you were? He's hurt slightly. He's dead. Well, he's in the front.
You can check out my left arm. It's pretty tingly and hurts a little bit.
That's him checking it out.
Okay. I'm hot. I'm good. My left arm hurts a little bit. That's it.
We got fire coming this in.
Okay, yeah. Who was up here when you went? Okay.
And I think I think my training saw it as well.
Yeah, get him in the car and get him cooled off.
Training saw it as well.
My back all ripped up.
Is that your new guy right there?
Okay. I'm going to need you to take one of these guys.
4220, do you need any other units directly at your location? If not, I'll just send them to the area.
I don't need anybody to the scene. I need the south end of this secured. I'm also going to need a traffic stop coming off of Glencoe. I think it's the street that's down at the bottom. I need a traffic post up there, make sure nobody else comes down. You want me to handle this like we do with ours? And
From here, I mean, yeah.
because what we do is everybody that's involved in it, we have a control officer, and we get them in a car, and anybody that was involved in it, we get them in an air conditioned unit, so they can cool off. Yeah. Make sure everybody that was here, make sure you don't have any extra holes in it.
I think it's a good idea. I mean,
I'll just get checked out just to be safe. My left arm's kind of tingly and
I
hurts a
think you
little
need to
bit.
go. Right here.
Yeah.
This one we need to get him checked.
Back here, we'll check you out real quick.
Okay.
Stay with us.
Here's the other one, all the way back from the city, the top part. I'm off duty, but I can help out with that.
Were you first supervisor? Okay.
First off, duty.
Yeah. Then, yeah, what time you start work? Well, you're recalled now. Get him up there with the fire department and,
yeah, we'll just keep it on for a little bit. Right here. Yeah, he was drugged by it.
I got dragged by a car.
I mean,
Man, I got stuck inside the steering wheel or somewhere inside there.
I mean,
I think I'm okay. My left arm hurts, kind of tingling on the bottom side here just where I got
cool.
Yeah, my body was just pulled on
Do you have any problems?
the fucking side.
Can you grip? I mean, can you
Yeah,
squeeze your hand
I can grip. It's
and all that?
just tingly from here down.
I think. All right. I'll be right back.
you could be his control officer.
Got it.
You ever done that before?
Yeah. I think we're going to hospital.
Yeah.
Oh, God, let's get checked out.
Yes.
Well, let me get that started.
Okay.
We don't need an ambulance form, I'll just take it down. You got cell phone charge or stuff on it?
I got stuff on my cruiser back here.
You can talk about anything you want except for what happened. The only thing I ask of you is, where did it start?
I initiated the traffic stop at Vine and Phil.
Okay, Vine and Phil.
South on Vine, he turned left on Phil. That's where I lit him up at.
Okay, where did he stop?
He did not take off, he was slow to stop. He pulled right up here, about halfway down this hill right here.
Okay, so for my purposes, for the investigation part of it, I need to know where it started, which is going to be right at this down there on this side of the tape. Is that correct?
Yes, just south of the intersection of Phil and right.
And it looks like you got dragged, if I'm looking.
Yeah.
Okay. And it ended up here?
I'm
So
sorry?
this is our crime scene, right here?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So, that being said,
They didn't even do anything?
Can you oversee this end of the crime scene for me?
Is that my car right here? Yeah.
That's your car, and that's what I was saying before. In the middle of the road there, that black one, that's where Lyndon Schmidt said you were, so that's your right.
Okay.
If you can watch this end of the crime scene.
Okay. Keep everybody out.
Steve, can you take over that end of the crime scene, please?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, that's fine. That's 45 minutes.
Yeah,
I can go outside.
All right, take over this end of the crime scene. Make sure you get somebody down here doing a crime scene law. And, well, you do this one, and we'll have somebody else getting that in. Okay. Okay.
All right, we'll talk.
Yep. All right.
Too, that's part of the evidence, I guess. I set that on top of his roof.
This is in your suspect's car on top of it, and that's your flashlight, right?
Yes. Yes.
This is your car?
Yes.
Yeah, they got a phone. Did you want to grab your cell phone?
I hope he did not lock that. I always took the keys out.
You need to call your girlfriend, wife, something like that, you can miss mine.
Okay. Let me get my keys from here real quick. He locked my cruiser.
Could seem like I'm throwing you around.
Because I have to. Oh, that's fine. I understand. You can just come down here. That's fine. 36. Me and Master Maxwell respond to my cruiser.
What's your bag?
282. Can you come down here to my cruiser? Do you have the keys to my cruiser? That is fine.
Still numb?
Tingly from here on down. And I'd just hurt.
You're going to end up just go up to UC and have them check you out. That's all.
Okay.
I mean, your shoulder's okay, nothing else.
Yeah, I hit the side of my knee too as I fell on the ground.
Your arm was in the car?
Yeah, I got locked in the car for now.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, just check them out. Make sure you know.
Okay.
Will that keep recording? Will it record over itself?
No, it will go for as long as I hit that button.
Okay,
on
so
here.
it won't like move and delete it?
No, it'll go for 10 hours straight if I want to. Thanks, sir.
What do you want to do? Like, so you,
I'm just going to go to the hospital with him, just get checked out.
okay, I'm told to go to the post office. But I'm asking about your cruiser. So you,
We have to leave it there. If you want to grab a cell phone, that's fine.
your key should stay here.
Yeah, I need to get in my car, it's locked.
Oh, you're locked up, okay.
I'm not here to hang. I mean, I can move my cruiser. No, we can't move it. He's just gonna grab
You moved this, correct? Or did someone else move my car?
I don't know, it was like that when I got here.
Okay, someone else moved my car there.
Captain Schmidt told me that's where you were.
Somebody moved it, because I pulled it straight up behind him.
Okay, yeah, no.
Do what?
the gas check. You know that, right? That's a cane right there.
I can see that.
Actually, ma'am, stand by on 40, back to you. Sorry, I have a report of an accident involving a couple of cars southbound 75 with a 10-5 traffic unit. NSF report that's gone past 3 hours.
Alright, you're here, Cliff. My car's secured.
You're going over there right now?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with him. Okay. Alright, thanks.
I got one of the other officers. With you? Yeah, Shank's got the other one. Going on CIO. Yeah. I'll get him treated, make sure he's alright. His back looks pretty bad. He got run up pretty good. Okay. I'll take the time.
Okay.
You need to make a phone call, tell Mike that they're both, if you're all right, feel free to do so. Just try to talk about what they are involved in and
Okay. Yeah, I'll find out when I get to the hospital.
Public service for 200.
Lieutenant, that's a true record copy of the defendant's body-worn camera video from July 19, 2015?
Yes.
Okay. And throughout the video, we could hear a beeping sound. What was that?
Every 2 minutes, you can have your camera set up to where it gives you an audio beep. And it's a reminder that your camera's still recording.
Okay. And I think earlier we talked about the policy to turn on your camera. What's the policy to turn off the camera?
Usually at the end of an event.
I'm sorry?
At the end of an event,
Okay.
like a traffic stop.
Okay. And how do you determine the end? Just if the traffic stop's over, then you leave? Then you would turn it off when you're leaving the
Well,
traffic stop?
in this incident, once he got to the hospital, it's mandatory that you turn it off so you're not violating any HIPAA laws.
And I had you earlier state exhibit number 15. Did you say that you are familiar with that exhibit?
You're talking about the NBC picture?
Yes.
I am.
All right, Your Honor, I'd like to enter exhibit number 15 into evidence and post it to the jury.
Okay.
All right. Lieutenant, do you mind, can you step over here? And I know that you probably don't have to deal with this quite as much in your position, but if you could just walk us through and tell us what some of the information that you're able to see on this. And if you come over here, if you come over by the screen and you can use my pen if you like, and you can point to the items that everybody will be able to see. So if you could just walk us through some of the information that is shown on this screen.
The GLN, that's the license plate number that it ran. This is the information that will come back to the owner of the vehicle.
Lieutenant, can you just keep your voice a little bit? I'm not sure if everyone can hear me or not. Yes, please.
This is the plate that he ran for the vehicle. This is the information that came back to the owner of the vehicle. This would be the driver's license number of the person that owns the vehicle, social security number, date of birth, and then descriptors.
And then what, I'm sorry?
Descriptors like age, height, weight.
Okay, and then on top of that, what is on the red? What comes up there, in this scenario, obviously?
This is the history. They have the history.
Okay,
This means hit. So this indicates the operator or the owner of the vehicle is suspended.
okay, suspended. And if the owner of the vehicle was not suspended, what would it say there?
Valid.
Valid, okay, all right. Thank you, you can take your seat, sir. Have a moment, Your Honor. And sir, everything you testified to, that occurred in Hamilton County, state of Ohio?
That's correct.
All right, thank you. I have no further questions at this time.
Okay. Mr. Matthews, cross.
Thank you, Your Honor. Lieutenant, on July 19th, 2015, you indicated you were a sergeant,
I was a sergeant at that time, correct?
and you were in charge of the body-worn camera program for the University of Cincinnati.
That's correct.
Is it correct that the UC Police Department was one of the first departments in the county to start wearing body-worn cameras?
We were.
And did you maintain your any road patrol duties or any other duties besides the camera program in July of 2015?
I did.
What were your duties in that?
Managing the officers that were under my command.
Which involved what?
Supervisor, overseeing, interacting with them.
These
following up on
officers
us.
are officers who are out on the street.
That's correct.
And can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what the policy was as far as the University of Cincinnati patrolling off of campus on July 19th, 2015?
At the time, Chief Goodrich, who was our chief at the time, indicated that he wanted us to step up our patrols in the area, on campus and around campus, which included traffic stops.
When did Chief Goodrich come to the UC, if you know?
I can't recall.
Did he change the policy with reference to off-campus patrols?
He wanted to step it up. We've always had a mutual aid agreement with the city. We could make traffic stops in the city.
What do you mean he wanted to step it up?
He wanted to make sure the criminal element realized that we were out there actively patrolling, so they would stay out of the area.
And was that something different than what had been done before he came on board?
Like I said, we were able to perform those functions before Chief Goodrich. We just stepped it up.
Okay. And I assume the chief passed the orders down to the supervisory staff, such as yourself,
He did.
and you passed it down to the officers on the street.
I did.
Did you have any supervisory role over Ray Tenzing?
I did not. He was on second shift. I was on third shift.
Okay. With reference to these body-worn cameras, you explained a little bit to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury how they work. I want to clarify a couple of things with you. It's my understanding that, as we just saw on the body-worn camera from Ray Tenzing's July 19th encounter with Sam Bose, the first portion of that, and I believe it's about 30 seconds, there is no sound.
That's correct.
And is that because, if I understand it correctly, that camera is constantly recording? And as soon as you turn it on, it starts to record?
At roll call, when they power, they activate their camera, it's recording.
Okay, and everything that it records is recorded over after a certain amount of time unless the officer double taps it?
Once they activate it, that's correct, but it's a 30-second loop. If it recorded the whole time, you would almost have to carry a backpack for the storage.
Okay, so when an officer double taps it, that's how he turns it on?
That's correct.
And that goes back and saves the 30 seconds prior to the officer double tapping?
That's correct.
And everything before that is gone?
That's correct.
Forever?
That's correct.
Okay. So the officer determines when he turns that camera on? Correct?
That's correct.
He also retains the ability to turn it off whenever he wants to, correct?
That's correct.
So he controls what gets recorded and what doesn't get recorded.
Absolutely.
And if he planned to go out and murder somebody, for instance, it's not likely that he would turn it on, correct?
That's correct.
Have you ever had any, did you control the officers as far as whether they follow the policy with reference to the body-worn cameras?
There's 2 or 3 supervisors per shift. Each shift supervisor is responsible for reviewing body camera footage.
It's my understanding that the policy at the time, and probably still is, that when an officer encounters any individual, whether on a sidewalk or in a car or makes a traffic stop, they're supposed to activate that camera?
That's correct.
Did you ever have any trouble with Ray Tenzing following that policy?
Never.
Okay. Again, just to be clear, if Ray hadn't wanted to record his interaction with Sam LeBeau, he could have merely either not turned the camera on or turned it off anytime.
That's correct.
Also, I noticed in the first 30 seconds there is no sound on the tape. Why is that?
That's the way the cameras are designed.
And is it correct that as soon as the officer double taps it, it begins to record the sound?
That's correct.
But going back and picking up the 30 seconds prior. It weren't recorded, correct?
And if you watch the video, you can actually see as he's driving down Vine Street, he'd reach up and activate his camera.
Actually, he activated it before that, did he not?
Well, it was recording the 30 seconds.
Okay. That's okay.
So what you're seeing is you're seeing the 30 seconds before he activated the camera.
And that's when we saw the computer screen.
That's correct.
Correct?
That's correct.
Do you know anything about the audio recording ability of those cameras?
Can you be a little bit more specific?
Okay. Well, I noticed on there, for instance, when Ray was talking to Sam LeBeau, or talking to other officers after the event, you could hear his voice pretty clearly. Other people, it was more difficult to hear.
These cameras are set, most devices are set to try to drown out ambient noise.
What is ambient noise?
Background noise.
Such as other voices?
Could be other voices, sounds outside the actual immediate area of the camera.
And just because that camera doesn't pick up a sound, that doesn't mean that the sound didn't occur. Would that be a fair statement on my part?
That's correct.
I think you've already told us that you looked at State's Exhibit number 15, which was the screenshot from Ray Tenzing's body-worn camera video of Deshaunda Reed's driver's license information.
I can't swear to what showed up on his screen or on the video camera, but that's what they showed me right here.
Okay. If I told you that's what showed up on his camera or in his cruiser, does that appear to be something that is accurate?
Yes.
And you've had experience punching in a license plate number on the computer, correct?
I have.
And how long does it take to get a response?
It's usually pretty quick.
Did you have a policy with reference to what kind of traffic violations warranted a stop by an officer on July 19, 2015?
Are you asking if we were limited to the type of stops we were able to make?
Well, more than that, were you told to make what kind of stops?
We were just told to step up our enforcement.
Okay, and is it correct that your policy and procedure says that you shall stop for any violation that you see?
Do you have officer discretion?
Yes.
Yes, but I mean, the mandate that came out was to step up enforcement.
Okay.
So if you saw a violation, you're supposed to take action.
And if somebody is driving under suspension, for instance, is that a serious traffic violation?
To me personally, I'm going to say yes.
Would you personally make a stop if you ran a license plate and came back that the driver was suspended or the owner was
I
suspended?
would at that time.
What do you mean at that time?
We're not allowed to do the traffic enforcement now, so
Since this incident, you don't do any traffic enforcement?
it has to be something that's going to cause immediate danger. A DUI, a car going the wrong way on a one-way street.
When the chief told you to step up these traffic stops, was there any direction given about who you should stop?
No, it was just a step up to enforcement.
What kind of weapon do you carry that you see?
A SIG.
That's a SIG model 3P320?
Yes,
Is that a semi-automatic handgun?
it is.
Have you ever fired one?
At the range, qualifying every year.
Have you ever experienced recoil?
Minimum.
Have you ever experienced recoil that knocked you back or moved you from where you fired again?
Negative.
Okay. When you were at the range, you shoot at targets?
We do, silhouettes.
What are the instructions as far as how you're supposed to shoot?
Center mass, it's usually center mass or headshots.
And are you taught that you are to shoot to kill?
Stop the threat.
Stop the threat?
Stop the threat.
What was the purpose of stepping up the traffic stops?
Because the crime was rising in that area.
And did
Parents were concerned, the administration was concerned.
the stepping up of the traffic stops have any effect?
It did.
What kind of effect?
It was keeping people out of the area that shouldn't be in that area.
Has that changed since you quit making traffic stops?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
I'll withdraw it, Judge. I have
Thank
nothing
you.
further.
It was sustained on the record. Okay, anything on redirect?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, Lieutenant March, you may step down. Thank you for your help.
Thank you.
I'm going to give them a real quick break. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take about a 10-minute, 12-minute break here. We'll line you up at 5 till 12. We're going to plan on going till 1:30, depending where we are. So at this time, I'll allow Dave to take you back, and you can go to the restroom, get a sip or a drink or something, and we'll see you in a few minutes. And remember, no discussion, okay?